Welcome to Exploring Environments. It's been a while since I did one of these. I think the last one I did was Dead Space 2. There is the remake for Dead Space 1, I will get to that. But I wanted to restart this series to, get something fresh on the channel. I guess classic would be a better word. But anyway, we're gonna go through the entire Dead Space 3 game. The DLC is not in here. I probably will do the DLC. I don't know how much will be in there. It's probably gonna be mostly the same material. But anyway, let's get this going. So the first thing we got here is the ship name of the first ship we come across. The crash ship, that is. The Mule. And that's pretty much all we got in this area, but I'm going to move ahead to the next section inside this ship. On these containers at the top of the, storage area are like personalized lockers for the soldiers, I'm guessing, aboard the ship. There are, it looks like 7 down here, and another 6 upstairs. So this could be just the crew for the bridge, that's the word. The bridge of the ship. Found it interesting that the computer here in the bridge is saying collision warning. The computer probably doesn't know it's crashed already, and so the collision warning doesn't matter, like a bad sensor, you could say. Just wanted to notice how many bodies are just set up in this area. Around 14, 15 bodies around here. Besides the 2 we see on the screen here, they're going to be added to this group. We're going to see this area later in the game. A lot of these bodies are going to be missing, most likely taken by the necromorphs. And now we come up to the Isaac Clarke part of the game, or I guess the main story. I'm going to look at some billboards here and some signs. First one is this blue sign. I'm not really sure what it looks like or means. I think it's a T or an arrow. It's some kind of corporation or hotel. Another one is this Q here. There's no actual lore for these areas or these corporations, as to say. So I have no idea what they mean. But I'm guessing these are like corporations on the moon. Probably office buildings and all that. Motorola, I think it's called. Up here we have P. I think this is it Penske? It's either Penske, there's like a tool company called Penske. I think it's called Tool Company Penske. 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 So it's either that company or it's Peng. P-E-N-G, Peng. Which no one knows exactly what that company does. But they have a bunch of hidden Easter egg statues. And on the left here we have a TSR, which has no reference either in Dead Space. I'm guessing it's some kind of sports channel. And Girls for You. I'm guessing that's a call center for meeting women, or it could be anything, honestly. From prostitution to women. Could be an AI girl you talk to, who knows. Over here we have looks like E. Reminds me of the Enclave from Fallout, but I don't know what that could be. It's interesting they put this on top of the windows there. Also want to look at some of these ships up here. They're passing by. It's kind of hard to see. Some are like small single-person ships. Some are like bigger, most likely shuttles from like the, if you think about Dead Space, the ships on Aegis 7. Some of these look like those ships for extraction. Some of them obviously are huge and have like, ever seen those helicopters that pick up things? It basically looks like that, something they can hold. Cargo maybe, cargo ships. Some more billboards, or I guess logos on the side of buildings. This looks like a windmill, so I don't know what company that is either. And there's another one that looks like CDO? I'm not sure. It's cut off by like some kind of metal in the way. You obviously have the marker shroud in the middle there, but most people saw that, so. Here we have some whiskey. It says big, and I'm not sure what the rest says. Time to look in Isaac's bathroom. First thing we got is Loco lotion, hand and body lotions. And his perfume smells. This container down here, I'm not really sure. I think this plant is the, could be anything from the weed plant to a guai plant, I think it's called. The one that gives a cooling effect. Could be some kind of aftershave, or maybe some kind of liquid for cuts, maybe. Who knows? I can't read it. But the M symbol looks like that symbol we found on the billboard outside, so they could be making these bottles. So that corporation out there could be a pharmaceutical company. Here's Isaac's fridge. -11 Celsius is 14 degrees Fahrenheit. Interesting that Isaac has graffiti inside his room. They also seem to give you a power box next to your door, which is kind of them. Across the hall, we have eviction orders for the room across Isaac. Isaac's actually getting evicted soon, so there's a lot of graffiti around, and most of it's nothing really important. It's like, I think one of them says suck on it, and slizzle dizzle or something. We have the Earth Cup posters we found in Dead Space 2 on Titan Station as well. There's also a trash dumpster out here in the hallway, so I don't know how they're gonna pick up this dumpster, what kind of machine comes in and takes it. We have some sun machines. They're like soda machines at this place. We have the regular sun. I don't know what flavor it is. I think it's outdoor flavor. I can't really read that. And then we have I'm guessing this is a new flavor, Midnight, because later on we'll see a bunch of them spread around. And then we have a sign for Isaac's apartment here. Red Moon Apartments. Stellar views of 3 major craters. Wow. Our rates eclipse the competition. Cozy, quaint spaces. Red Moon Apartments. 2 stars. My god. Outside of Isaac's apartment, we have signs here. First one is leasing office, pointing inside the building. Special low rate sign. Limited time offer. Doesn't tell you what it's for though. This one's showing a crater festival happening. And this sign looks like it's been here for maybe years. This might have been here since the beginning of the moon colony. And there's graffiti all over this building. We got a water fountain here. It looks like it's been turned off for years now. I can only imagine what this place looked like before, when it was thriving and all that. Probably like a really nice place to live. I wonder if it was always 2 stars or like the rating went down. Here's some graffiti I found on the door. I thought I could read it if I zoomed in, but it's written in cursive, and it's blurry, so it's kind of hard to read. I'll leave it here so you can, if you want, you can decipher it. We follow this water down here after fighting Unitologist. It seemed to be coming out of nowhere. I couldn't tell if the wall goes all the way to the floor, so I assumed it was coming out of the bottom. But when I looked at where the water was going, it was just going into the other wall, but some of the wall on the other side, specifically this pillar here holding up the wall structure, there's no way the water can go through that. Most likely people didn't notice this when they were making it, since it's a action-packed area. A bunch of Unitology symbols and posters everywhere with graffiti on them. But the interesting thing I found here was this book on the ground. It says Believe, written in a different font and like it was written afterward. Believe Encyclopedia, something Mura. I'm guessing Ishimura. And then the photo I think is either Earth, Ishimura's emblem, an EarthGov emblem, and I'm not really sure which one though. What's interesting to look at. I was looking around the sky here, the cars passing by, you know, trying to get a good glimpse of them. And I noticed the windows over here on the left side of this building are too small for people. Here we see this woman who got executed by the Unitologist. As we can see, her life bar on her back, the rig system, is completely turned off, which means she's basically dead. But if we go up to her, you can see that on her arm and leg are cut. Honestly, I don't think those would kill her instantly like that. Well, she didn't die instantly. She died in a few seconds after we saw her. Maybe she's passed out. You can't move her or shoot her or anything. Some interesting graffiti here. Shitty EarthGov. Such a... I don't know how to say it. It's like a unserious, like, graffiti, like a child would make probably. Here's another poster for the AI-driven cars on the right here. Auto Fright. We stop for no one. It's also interesting, these bags I'm throwing here to test the physics of the actual vehicles, which are not hitting the vehicles at all and they're not getting pushed, which I'm guessing these things have no actual hitbox. And there's like a death box once you cross a threshold here that kills you instantly. So the cars don't kill you, I guess the collision wall does. Now this is an interesting one. Usually phone numbers have 11 digits. This one I believe has 12. So usually it's country code, the 1 in the beginning, then area code, the 3, and then your phone number, the last numbers. It's interesting because there's an X in there, an extra X. So they had to increase the size of the phone number in order to include the moon, I'm guessing. So either this whole phone number is for the moon basically, or the X is some kind of digit that tells you it's a moon phone number. Here's Dredger Corp, the same company that's in Dead Space. The book name's escaping me. The Catalyst, I think it's called. Dead Space Catalyst with Michael Altman. They're the company that helps the excavation project when the military arrives to help dig up the black marker. And it seems like they're still around if you're taking that book by canon standards. So they've been around for 300 years now. Here's another advertisement. Gobber? I think it's Gobber. Holographic accessories. And there's like a star on this lady's nose, which I think would be pretty annoying, but I think it's like barely under the eye, so you can see past it. That light would probably, I don't know if it damaged your eye over time if you use it too much. I don't know, it seems like a stupid invention, honestly. The flooring looks destroyed completely, like it's been ripped apart, which I've never seen before in any building. So I don't know what they were dropping here, or stealing or breaking, but there's no pieces anywhere, so someone's cleaning it up. So this poster here, or this, I guess, advertisement, is for the movie Kitty Kitty Bang Bang. No idea what it's about, but it was on Dead Space 1 and Dead Space 2, and now it's in this game. So I don't know if it ever came out, or if it's still taking this long to make, or if it's out already, just a rerun. And since the moon is run down and all that, they don't have any new films coming out, and no one's ever changed this hologram. Inside the Dredger Corp building, we have the most valuable company on the moon. When Danik throws you down here, it always interested me that he never actually looked down here and shot you. It's not really that hard to see, so I don't know why he just didn't finish Isaac off. This one, the Earth seems a little bit too close to the moon here. It could be scaled down, I think, maybe 25 to 30%. And here we have a book about accounting, the accounting book. It looks like the Earth Club soldiers had like a defensive going on here. And they were slaughtered by the necromorphs, so they must have died recently, since the necromorphs weren't around until the Marcus Shroud blew open. They could have been shot too, but there's no weapons anywhere, so their guns must have been taken. So I'm guessing Danik's men must have taken them out. Some book titles. Visceral Money Tactics. Think Big, Dredger Corp. Winning Battles. Here we have more books. Smart Marketing, Creative Business, book, and Business Model into the Future. On the monitor, it looks like that generator for the asteroid bit in Dead Space 1 that was holding the mining rock that you had to push out of space to use as a signal amplifier. Here's an interesting cup logo I found on the desk of this murdered employee. This desk has a lot of stuff on it. These, first picture, it looks to be like a floating colony, perhaps the same one in Dead Space 2, the relaxation colony. A wedding photo, some sticky notes. I think it says, "Why that my face?" I'm not sure what this next one says. Need something. It says, looks like reek or rame. Cream? No idea. Then we have the Sun Soda over here, the Midnight flavor. Here we have a Sun Soda stand, and Midnight looks like the only flavor on sale. There are a bunch of cups and like some kind of squirt bottles, like the ketchup ones and mustard ones, but they could be anything, honestly. We have different types of drinks too. Nexus flavor, Meteor Shower, Black Star, Sunspot Special. And I don't think I ever see these 4 flavors. And then we have the usual small, and this skips medium, goes large, mega, ultra. 90-cent increase to large, 60-cent increase to mega, around a 40 increase to ultra. It looks like the Midnight Sun flavors come in cans and bottles, but the bottles seem to be smaller. Going something of Busters, Bonkers, something. Eviction notice, release. There's a phone number here, or 2 of them, and doesn't seem to be enough digits. But the symbol for the company, LLA. Then we have this movie poster, The Clogger, Part 2, coming to a hollow screen near you. Reference to the one on the Dead Space 2 game. And then we have a special menu over here on the side. Goat soup. I think it says lamb underneath. Loin, chop. Yeah, just a menu for types of meats. Vita Soda. Or is that a drink? Trixie's. I think that's in Dead Space 2. And you have the, I don't even know what you call that, a mascot? Inside the Astro store, we have a bunch of books. A board. Red help. I think one of the words is cut off at the bottom there. And this book in front will come in play later. I think it's like a 0G book for technology, which is on the Ishimura. Safety glass. To the moon. There's actually two flavors here. So flavors? Two versions. Safety glass book, which is interesting. A whole book about safety glass. The moons. I'm guessing some kind of heat map or what do you call it? The different levels of the environment. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I think it's called topology. I think it's what it's called. Earthcov book. Some kind of lunar phases book. Moon globe. Unitology book, which was in Dead Space 2. Some shirts too. Buy two, get one free. Quad Arrow shirt. Engineering suit, I guess you call it. Love, remember someone expects you home tomorrow. Yes. Lunar City, and then one of the shirts is printed backwards. The postcards, Unitology postcard. There's an Earthcov soldier here that's on the floor. And I'm trying to retrace his steps. It looks like he was attacked in the front and it's either attacked in the front and killed and trying to get away, or he was dragged backwards and died on his back. We got a lot of posters up here. Gravity poster. Full Moon Shop, which is the store we were just in. Arthur about his Unitology thing. Salvation is near, service 1 o'clock. I'm guessing that's Unitology's church. O Lodge, I'm guessing some kind of relaxation place. Massage. Could be a lot of things actually, now thinking about it. Egg nuggets, meteor balls, cooking books. Soy sticks, cooking book. Spaceman, decades, pictures. Maybe some science book? Phase, Colony Nightlife, that's like a I can't remember those magazines are called that talk about celebrities. Party Like it's $25.99. Sun, so this must be a new magazine. That's a new Sun logo. The Playboy Genius LMX. This looks like Norton, the guy who was just in their home over there with Carter. There's a Carver. I don't know what this is supposed to be. It says Cracker. This is science right here, I think. This must be like a fake science book. You know, like telepathy and stuff like that. Looks like an Asian takeout shop. Fuyu. Buy, sell, pawn, with the end falling off. It's a bad neighborhood. A lot of graffiti everywhere. NGK Pool Club. And the writing there in the non-English characters, I don't know what language that is. I think it's Chinese, honestly. It just says Billiards Club. There's a nightclub. I'm pretty sure that's Japanese. Those characters up there. Yeah, I think that's Japanese. I don't know about the one on the right. I think that might be Chinese? Maybe. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure the bottom left are Japanese. The top ones, I'm not sure. The red. Love Hotel, Motel. You always want to stay at a hotel, not a motel. But motels are usually cheaper than hotels. But you get what you pay for. Metro Platform by LTS. That's a different company. Tools of Terror. Caleb Mendoza. It says Electronic Arts and Visceral down there at the bottom. Interesting, here we find the only soda machine not graffitiized. Graffitied? So it must be a new model or a new machine put in. Down here, if we look closely, right when this woman's getting attacked, this Necromorph swinging wildly at the air. And she just... So he swings first. Oh, past her. She's like, oh no, falls. And runs away. There's this cool Endora logo here I found. Of the USM Endora for Earthgov. This USM Endora, the US letters are not straight with the M and the rest of the writing Endora. There's another company that's Ronin Cleaning Tools. Here's a cool Earthcov bag. They have branding for everything in this place. And also what's interesting about this is this book right here. Field Medicine. Now you might think, what's so interesting about that? The logo is the interesting thing. The logo is actually the logo for the USM Valor, which is the ship that was that crashed into the Ishimura. This is not important, but these washing or drying machines are so tiny. You can barely fit any clothes in here, if they are those. They have buttons and all that on them, so I don't know what else they would be for, since they're not labeled anywhere. Here's another book here with chemistry and military tactics written on it. And I don't know if military tactics military is spelled wrong. It looks like MIE, but it could be because of the blurriness that makes it look like that. So it could just be that. Here's another company name, Teak Technologies. I think this company is in Dead Space 2. If I find it, I'll put it on the screen where I found it. And this is for the power to the lift, the drop ramp for the ship that Isaac jumps onto to get on here. When the USM Endura gets to the Tavalenta space, the first piece of debris that almost hits us is a piece of the USM Shackleton, which is a ship we never actually see in the game, and this is the only reference to it. Looking at all this debris out here in space, this is all from Scenario 5 as the ships were being destroyed. Now imagine how much history and data was lost about the necromorphs of this planet. Pretty much everything about this time period. There's at least 20-30 ships gone. We have our first blood writing on the walls. All is lost. And next to them is these refrigerators, I guess containers, I don't know if they're refrigerated, that store the remains of these infected corpses. Either that or they're unitologist boxes, but I don't think they're big enough. Unitologist, that is, at this time period. So these must be study boxes. A cool USM, I guess CMS, Roanoke logo here on this, looks to be another body container. Now this wall is very interesting. It's like a barricade they trapped half the ship in. And then the survivors wrote on this wall about the sacrifices and all that. In memoriam, we honor your sacrifice. Thoughts of you come drifting by. You are true heroes. Service to his colony. We will miss you dearly. You will be remembered. Thank you for your sacrifice. No entry written on there. And it's like a quarantine zone. On the floor, we have you honor your sacrifice as usual. You're true heroes. It's the same writing. Don't let their memory fade away. On the opposite side of that, we have the people that were trapped in here getting slaughtered. It's very cold humor, I guess you'd say. We have some old photos here with some eyes darkened. I'm guessing these are the leaders of the ships. This says, you are a bunch of filthy, piss guzzling fuck mules. That's what I think it says. And devil horns on this guy. We won't fight your wars. It's the first instance we see of rebellion on this ship, if it is rebellion. I know most of the soldiers follow their orders on Article 5. Scenario 5, Article 5. Here's a danger entering 0G sticker. And I don't know if the suit has that woman's voice that tells you you're entering 0G, or is that from the ship? But it's the same voice that you get in Dead Space 2, so I'm guessing it's from the suit. So back then they must have not had that voice. So they would have to warn people with a note of some kind. Here's a evacuation map of the tunnel with the fan blades. And back at the main menu here, we have the science lab that we'll come to later in the game with the overhead sunroof, I guess you call it. Here's another cool logo for the CMS Roanoke. So here on the wall we have the marker, as it says above at the top, the marker over and over. On the left side, I don't know what that says in cursive. I think the word says killing, sitting up, and the word and. That's all I can pretty much figure out there. And around the machine down here, it just says turn it off over and over as Isaac says earlier. The red letters I can't figure out, so in the white I can't. Here's a cool little ship that captains usually collect. Another book next to it, which is interesting, of the USM Valor. which didn't exist at this time. So how did this person get this book? I was just trying to figure out how this guy died in here. It looks like he was killed in this room, trying to defend himself with some kind of stapler or hole puncher. And then whoever killed him was human, as we see the footsteps at the beginning, leaving the room. Here's a machine warning. And I think at the bottom there, do not exceed 8,000 pounds. That's the elevator warning from, I don't know if it's from a game. It might be from Dead Space 1, if I remember correctly, or 2. This is the fast travel ship that you can use to get to one ship or another. On the right, we have deflective polarity, improbability drive, trans-warp field generator. So this thing can generate warp, but this actually, you can find this exact same, I guess, wording on the bigger ship. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's going to come up later in the video. Here's a laundry room, which we never get to go into. The thing about this is this guy was dragged into the vent, but the vent is still there. I think this happened in Dead Space 2 and 1, and we see blood going into the vent, but the vent is still completed, or I guess intact would be the correct word. I also find it interesting there's so many bodies still on the ship that haven't been touched by the necromorphs at all. And look at the tech that's being used, how ancient it is. They're still using phones instead of the communicators we have. Keyboards, manual keyboards, I guess you call that mechanical. No screens anywhere. And here's that screen I was telling you about earlier on the other ship. The exact same type of writing on the right here. Here we have some photos, I'm guessing, of the developer team, or maybe the crew. Here's an interesting typewriter or computer. It has like a basic screen up there too. It still has a mechanical keyboard, it looks like. Here's a screen of the alien organisms, or I think the necromorph pieces cut up. And on the table is actually a cut up body, which looks human almost. It possibly is. And in the back, another piece of a cut up human. Temperatures not to exceed 271 kelvins, which is 28 degrees Fahrenheit. The crew was surviving in the back here, or what was left of them, I guess. And they had this electricity turned on here that was shooting sparks of lightning, or I guess sparks of electricity. And electricity was used to stop the necromorphs, but the power went out, and this thing turned off, and so they all tried to run, and were slaughtered. And I threw the bodies into the ceiling there, so they wouldn't come to life later. But you know, they also had sun bottles everywhere, or I guess sun cans. These are like originally black. The sun has been around for a long time. Here's an interesting emergency use, I guess, ball. So when the air pressure leaks or, you know, blows out into space, you pull this thing, it inflates to a ball, and you get inside the ball. And that would basically keep you from suffocating in space. It looks like the crew hung their like daily supplies or uniforms all down the walls. So either this was a common thing in the CMS fleet, or they had no way to clean their clothing because of the necromorph outbreak. This looks to be like a gun pod or gun command station. Judging by how far the red buttons up on the top are, you would have to stand up just to shoot. This guy also had pictures of his family, I'm guessing, and medals on the wall. And I think that's a diploma, a really small diploma. And driving the point home again, we see clothing everywhere, books, cups, everything on the walls here that they personalized themselves. I don't even know if they had living quarters, honestly, or they lived always at these stations. Could be that thing where people in cubicles bring their stuff and decorate around them, you know. Here's an EVA procedures checklist. It's interesting that the rig system has been around for so long. I think this meal thing on the table here was in Dead Space 2, if I remember correctly. I'm going to put it on the screen if I find it. Here's a menu for the mess hall for 1 to 9 weeks. And on the right here, rules. So what is acceptable in the mess hall. Coveralls or clothes, basically clothing that smells and all that with chemicals, ash, and diesel, are not allowed. Ragged, dirty clothes, hats, caps, shower shoes, open-toed sandals, shorts, bathing trunks, what the hell? Boxing trunks, gym trunks, etc. Those aren't allowed. And food service will be denied if they are brought. Interesting pinball machine that most people probably saw because of the jump scare. In the cargo hold, we have a restricted area sign that helps you figure out how heavy something is and if it's possible to pick it up. Here's a container of something organic being transported somewhere. Judging by the shape, it isn't human. And over here we have a dog cage that seems to have been broken from the inside. You're probably wondering, why is the marker influence so large up here? It's because they have a few on the ship. At least 2 here. 2 small ones, that is. There's actually a way bigger one next to these. Right here we have a sign saying compressed food, anti-fatigue compound bars. Different types of cigarettes you can actually buy. Here's an interesting SCAF poster. It seems to be a recruitment poster. In the same room we have another poster. Basically a work ethics poster. Carry your load. Here's some operating instructions for a, looks like, water boiler. Here we have a bunch of sticky notes and papers. The first one we see is a marker. It might be unitologist. And I'm not sure what these symbols are down here. They could be marker scripture, but they're too hard to read to understand what they say. Some of these other papers, the bottom one, I think is in Dead Space 1 or 2. I'll look for it. If I find it, I'll put it on there. If not, it's not in that game. But I cannot read it. It's way too small and blurry. And these 2 pictures, I think the left one's the admiral or captain of this ship. And the right one might be the other captain by a different ship. Who knows? We have writing on the floor here. I want to live, over and over again. And I want to live again. So up here on the bridge, we have a bunch of markings on the floor for how long this guy survived up here. So if each marks a day, and there are 30 marks in a cluster, and there are 13 clusters, which would be 390 marks multiplied by 5 per mark, would be 1,950 days, which would be 5 years and 3 months, around that. So this guy was alive up here for 5 years. Up here we have a marking on the wall that says El Dorado, the city of gold, and a poster talking about the career that you could take in the SCAF. Here's another company logo. I think these guys exist in Dead Space 2. I'm gonna put a image on the screen if I can find it. I was rubbing into this guy to see if I could test his hitbox. That sounded really crazy. But I was trying to see if he reacts to Isaac at all, but he seems to only have an upper hitbox near his head. Looking at the damage of this ship, it's been through a lot. You can see black scorch marks on the front of it, so it's crashed already once. A lot of the paint's rusted off or fallen off. New tiles have been put on. The front has an impact sight. Looks like it hit square in the nose. Top has burn marks. Parts of the wings are missing. There's a cool logo on the side too. The back has scorch marks. It looks like something impaled the back of the ship, or maybe parts of it fell off. I found this container filled with board games here. Build a Word, Interpretation, and this other one I cannot read. Here's another cool logo from the Sovereign Colonies. Fortitude, Integrity, and Aloha. A lot of Hawaiian, Pacific types of posters hanging around. Now remember the bookstore at the beginning of the game, in the moon shop with all the moon shirts and all that. This magazine or book was in that shop. Here's an updated version of that typewriter, or it might be a downgraded, depending how you look at it. I'm not sure how the screen functions, but the keyboard looks less wild. Here's another note that says, put your tools back where you found them. Here's an interesting elevator with the amounts written in by pencil or pen. I can't seem to read the pencil pen parts, but everything else is readable. They were trapped down here trying to get to the surface, but they couldn't. And I'm guessing someone else wrote RIP, because it's kind of weird if they wrote it. Inside the cabinet here, we have some MREs and food supplies. These guys are actually starving down here without food and started eating each other. And it's kind of funny, there's actually some supplies in the cabinet. There's also some seeds or some kind of seed packs in the back of the freezer and on the floors. And it looks like they're storing the bodies either to eat or to send in those boxes we see on the ships in the atmosphere. Found this cool little helmet here. Looks like one of those biker helmets or SWAT helmets. Next to all the bloody rusted sink. On this door it says SCAF fucking brigade. Or actually, it says SCAF engineer. It says SCAF engineer brigade. In the same room we have a cool flag. Broaden your horizon. Someone seems to have barricaded the creatures inside this door right here. And one of the doors seems to be open. It looks like maybe one of the bars was opened or maybe it broke apart. And they all ran outside, tore the place up. But they're in here for a while. Not as many marks as the guy on the station. Estimating about, it could be around a year, estimating about how many marks. And there's another door down here. I'm guessing another filled pack, but we don't hear any noises from this one. And this is where someone was barricaded inside. I'll put his name on the screen so you know who I'm talking about. I made a video about him. I can't remember his name right now, but he was trapped in here when he was trying to communicate and get a signal for help. In this room we have more writings on the wall saying turn it off, which is referencing the machine. Here we have a bunch of bodies that have like blood coming from the abdomen, the head. They're all covered, so these must be people that have been killed during Scenario 5. The necromorphs would have took them. But the necromorphs didn't take the people on the ship I showed you earlier, so it's anyone's guess. This place also has open ceilings for air to get in. I'm guessing the air conditioning or air vents aren't that good, but that makes the place freezing cold. And here we have people hung up, just like the unitologist that broke on Titan Station in the Ishimura. They start doing some ritual shit. Most likely sacrifices for the necromorphs to come and get the bodies. They also start putting the marker symbols everywhere in the hallways and walls, everywhere they could. Blood. Looks like someone's ambushed here and dragged away. Body's gone, so it must have been taken and turned. Here's another air vent or skyline for air to come in. Typical crazy people from the unitology cult putting lanterns in. I think it was candles in Dead Space 2. And they also put them around these bodies, which makes me not sure who actually killed these people. Here's a Semtex crate. Semtex H. I want to show you this. Someone opened the sun can. Like a can opener, like you open a can of soup. Instead of, look, they also opened the tab where you push down on the thing, and then can open the rest, like a psycho. Have some signs here on the fence, just inspection signs, prepare to be stopped, stuff like that, and the Sovereign Colony logo. And here we have some frozen bodies. These guys could have been dead for a while and froze over. So instead of them looking like they froze to death, they could have been shot or killed and just left there. We just don't see any evidence of blood. In the place they were guarding, they actually have a bunch of gun containers filled with some kind of rifle. In the next room, they have like turrets set up for the other side of the wall, so if you're approaching to attack the wall, they can gun you down. We have a necromorph, I guess, piece of paper to where to shoot them. The other papers are they look like art pieces basically. Someone drew them. It could be from kids or something sent to their parents. So this is the inside of the facility. So the turrets would be right above this door, aimed right below. So if you try to get in, they'll take you out. Here's another company, RNG, airlock manufacturers. And we see Ronin again, which is interesting because they were cleaning tools. So either they have two branches or they switch from stasis tools to cleaning. If that is true, then stasis has been around a long time. There's some personalized containers, or I guess lockers for these soldiers. And there's this cool logo next to it as well. On the wall here we have the two space admirals, I think they are, and I think that's Jeremahad down there at the bottom right. A map of the area. I can't read into smaller papers, they're not readable. The creature that ambushes us a lot. Another map showing the, I guess, excavation points. And another map showing off the mountains in the area. I don't know if showing off is the word I'm saying, like they mapped it out. On the table here we have the entire base, or I guess the area where they're digging up the fossils. The green flags must be smaller fossils, yellow must be amazing finds, and then I think the red are like locations. Here's a site map of the area and a specimen storage building. I was checking out the unitologist armor here. It's green and it has some symbols on there which are hard to read since they're spread out and warped and all that. There are two blackboards in this room talking about where they found the organic contents, you could say, in these mounds. And each mound has a different percentage of organic content in it. This other blackboard seems to be just a map of the area, as far as I can tell. This unitologist's armor says on his shoulder, 1. On his chest it's hard to read since a lot of the words are blocked. Most likely it says something about the circle and becoming one, crumbled together so it's hard to read, and then they write it. Instead of being like one like continuous line, they stack it on top of each other, the letters. Here's a fossil, the creature that chases you throughout a section of the game. Here's some actual alien remains, or they could be alien fauna on the planet that we never actually see, or it could be necromorph bodies. Either is possible here. Outside we have a bunch of Nexus hive minds going towards the mountain, and they seem to have been flash frozen. So basically the plan was over and they were going towards a machine to stop whoever was about to activate it. Inside we have an actual diagram of a Nexus, the first one. This area is supposed to be the Nexus 1, but on the wall here it says Nexus 3, which is interesting to me. And once you go into the other area, we actually spot a, I guess, roof that says Nexus 2 on it. So that's the area to Nexus 2. And that's where we're supposed to go. However, inside it says Nexus 1 on the wall. It's a little confusing. Sovereign Colonies actually made a bunch of posters how to fight the necromorphs. So they must have been living on the planet at the exact same time doing research while these things were running around. They were doing a better job than EarthGov and everyone else. A bunch of sticky notes on the lockers here. Please file your report. Someone left the door open. These over here say double check the ID. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what this says, back in something amount of time. Out of luck. The crane is busted, fix it again, basically something like that. I'm late, sorry. And none of these are signs, so no one knows who's talking. On the wall right next to it, biological warfare book. I think the emblem's upside down too, I'm not sure. I can't remember off my head. I think the horns aim up. Here's a fake break glass in case of emergency. It actually looks 2D if you look at it at a right angle. For some reason, this wall right here, I think there's a door supposed to be here or something. It was blocking me. It just says keep clear. Either something's invisible or something's not working correctly, I'm not sure. There are a bunch of bodies scattered everywhere. It looks like they were wrapped up after they were killed, possibly to get rid of them. This armory had a giant cargo drop lift, I think you call it. Either an aircraft or some kind of machine would lower it all the way to the bottom. This area lets you store stuff short term. Maybe it's like a moving area basically between hubs. It's interesting, the armory has airflow tubes, but the other place had things in the ceiling for air to come down. I also spotted this camera on the wall here. An old-fashioned camera too. I was confused earlier for the bodies, like who killed them, since they're hanging from the ceiling right now. So I'm not sure if the soldiers did this or the unitologists. Here's that 0G evacuation chart that we saw earlier on the ship with the fan blades. His body parts seem to just fall off. It looks like they were transporting bodies out of the tunnel, so the soldiers were doing it, or I guess the scientists, and removing all the bodies. But it could also be a case where this is a train for moving objects like weapons and all that, and they're just using it to craze people down here. You want to learn how to start a furnace? This is your thing right here. It looks like someone was ambushed right here when they were checking the instruments on the wall. It seems to be some kind of survey office, most likely checking out the environment around and letting people know if it's safe to climb up. A lot of people froze to death up here, and their faces are actually very visible. So we're not really sure if they were killed and died or they froze to death. So I'm going to say they froze to death. There are a lot of them, at least 20 in this cave alone. It looks like this cave was a waterfall at some point, with water falling over, and a flash froze during the activation of the machine. Looks like the research facility is a very restricted area, but the mountain isn't, so I'm guessing the people mined here, and then they put it on the elevator, I guess you could call it, and it would take it up to the research facility. I'm pretty sure Ellie's mouth doesn't move when she's talking here.
I see a ground route. I'll shoot directions to your rig. We'll meet at the facility.
It's interesting, this is the first time we see the Scaff Galactic Expedition written somewhere. Inside this area we have a bunch of buried markers. At least 10 in this area, all different sizes. And what's interesting even more to me is that some markers are broken. Like their tips are broken off, which means they can be destroyed, either from erosion or they are deactivated since they're not glowing anymore. Here's a map of the area, the site area, all different logos for the different branches of the research facility. And here's a map of the inside. I thought this hazmat suit was interesting since we don't really see these. We usually see suits like Isaac's here, but modified to look different for scientists. This may not be interesting, but I thought this logo for the barrel storage area was interesting. This area we have a bunch of marker writings. The first one we look at is below. And this one says turn it off. turn it off below. This one says the end, this one translated it for some reason. And it just seems to be repeating over and over again. I followed the footsteps for this one all the way around the room to where Ellie is and to the activation pod. So, no idea what these footsteps mean, but someone was walking around in bloody footsteps. So this symbol right here, the diamond, is the NFPA 704 rating system. Each color in each box means something different. Blue is a health hazard. So, and then the number represents how much of a health hazard. 3 is extreme danger. 2 for red means at 100 degrees, above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, it will burn. Instability is yellow, which is 1, which is unstable if heated. So once it hits 100 degrees Fahrenheit, it becomes unstable. The white, with the W crossed through it, means use no water. It's interesting these pipes are freezing down here. I wonder if that's like over time or if it's been happening since, but there is a lot of water on the walls. There's some more bodies in here. Must have been a scenario 5 body or maybe a subject for the research team. And in this room is the main menu room as we saw earlier. The same thing on the wall. And there are also some x-rays of the creatures. I'm not sure which one it is though. It could be the alien version. Out here is the biggest marker we've seen so far, but it seems to be turned off as well. The most interesting thing for me are these slabs with the alien language written on them. There is no way to translate these. Possibly there is. I know there's a word list from Dr. Serrano for specific words, but it's interesting that they have these tablets, and I wonder if you could decode these. I might make another video trying to. I'll see. Here's a marker book saying believe on it. In this room there are different fossils, cut up parts of the necromorph aliens, excavation site notes, a bunch of things, but the notes are kind of hard to read. It's a big problem with the older games, the blurriness of the notes. But they are written around there. I'll try to read some of them. Like this one says bronze, not too much damage. And I could say weaponized or something like that. Specimen 8, specimen 29. The rest are just too hard to read. Imagine you come in to your job at the research facility on some ancient planet, and the guy right next to you is reading a biology book. Besides that joke, there's these cool 2 books right here about the necromorphs that would be really interesting to read. There's another Sovereign Colonies Armed Forces unit, the 163rd unit. Their cool emblem. There are actually fossils all around the hallway here. Different alien parts. Here's a creepy sign saying the zoo. It says don't feed the animals, crossed out scientists. And here's another fossil of the creature that was chasing us before, now that we've killed it. It's the 3rd time we've seen it, or I think 4th. Here's a sign saying they will prosecute anyone who takes artifacts out of the labs. And interesting what they would do to these people. I can only imagine. I'm not trying to give an example. Most likely they'd probably be jailed or killed. Well, throughout this next area we see alien pieces in squares or cubes cut up so they can be transported easier, like Rosetta is later on. They're also stored in circular containers. And another logo for a cool company here. I'm guessing they make thermal, like padding for heat and cold. Here we see a security room. Men are not punished for their sins, but by them. And we see an actual weapon here, an old-time pistol. Going all the way to the beginning of the game, we see the bodies that were at the scene when Jiro Mahad executed Tim. You can see they're like decomposing and pieces are gone. The bodies on the floor are actually missing. or they looks like they put in piles as well. So I'm not sure if the pile was there before or they were moved. There's another really small marker, like the smallest one we've ever seen. It might be down below, but I think it's like the smallest marker ever. On this specimen here, it says color, bulk, serial number, style, size 110. That's pretty much all it says on here. Here's some more fossils. It looks like similar to the other fossils we found. This area is filled with markers and dead alien skeletons. It looks like a lot of them died here. Maybe hiding from using the markers dead zone. But then again, there's necromorphs around this area, so I don't know if the dead zones actually work. I know they're referenced 2 times, once in the movie and once in the book. But anyway, there's a bunch of bodies here. There's different sized skulls. They're all curled up around the markers, like they died near them. This one came out of the wall. They must be like a door. It's interesting seeing how they're spread out like that, trying to get away. And then we have the hanging ones here. I don't know if they're bodies or like virtual aliens hung up on the wall. And then you have this one. It's probably the biggest alien I've seen. They could get bigger as the older they get, like a lobster or something. Here we have some sort of pictograph, which I'm guessing is the stasis device we use later. And above that, I'm not really sure. It looks like a dog or some kind of animal. Here we can see the growth here. I'm wondering if this is open above and it was flooded with water, or if they were if there was a ceiling up there and they couldn't get in. But we see the growth, that's the mass that we see on Ishimura, the red growth growing on the walls. And inside we see a figure hung up, either is some sort of holy figure in their religion, or this is the marker religion, like the Unitologists. They're Michael Altman, in a way. The markers in this area actually make 2 different sounds, which is interesting. Here we have a massive appendage that was growing and coming over into the walls and everything. And the appendage spreads deeply into this area, around statues and everything. There's actually broken markers that are red, and there's some that are turned off. So the markers that aren't glowing, are they deactivated? And what causes the deactivation? So that's the new episode. I don't know how long it's going to be. My side says an hour, but I haven't edited it down yet. So we will see on your side. It might be 20 minutes. Who knows? But I might do another episode. We'll see. But anyway, I will probably do the DLC if I do the next one, which won't be that long. It'll probably be a 5-10 minute video. But anyway, I'm gonna get going. I will see you.